TGR News, broadcasting from the State of Israel.
Welcome back to TGR News.
Hello, hello.
This week we'll talk about more earthquakes in the Middle East this week and how the Supreme Court reform is continuing to split this country into two. Plus much more happened this week. But first, we have to say thank you. Thank you for everything you guys do. The ability that you guys give us to be able to feed the people here in the state of Israel, the nation of Israel, God's people. It is absolutely a blessing that is, it can't be put in words. It is an amazing thing. It's just wonderful. If you could, it don't cost you anything. Another great way to support us is to share and like and comment on these videos, especially like and sharing. And it really is a wonderful way to get this ministries, what we're doing out to other people. I'm sure other people would love to be able to be a part of giving to the nation of Israel. So thank you guys so much. Just like we always say, if you're not yet a part of this, the ministry, and you feel like the Lord is leading you to, then there's links below every video. One to the Patreon page and another link to the Support Us page on thegoldenreport.com. Or you could just go to thegoldenreport.com and find us on the Support Us page there, and whichever way feels best for you to send your support and your of feeding these people here in the state of Israel. It is an amazing thing we're doing, and we have great aspirations to grow, and we hope that you would be a part of that, God willing. We love you, and the people you're helping here love you. So God bless. Well, let's get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
Remember last year when our left-wing government gave in with the show of weakness to Nasrallah, to the Hezbollah, the threats to attack if we don't give them part of our gas fields in the Mediterranean. Mm-hmm. Well, after we had given them a large portion of the gas field, they made a deal with Qatar and France, actually a French company, to build their gas rigs and start producing gas. After all this time, and still they have not yet started producing gas, Nasrallah is yet again threatening Israel and somehow blaming us for his situation. This is, it's just the way they are. This is the way they are.
Yeah.
It was a mistake giving them our gas fields that were off in our land that we, cultivated, we found, we drilled, and by the way, it's the same gas that produces the energy for all of the electricity for the state of Israel. Yeah. Right. And in the meantime, we was also working on a deal, doing a gas line to Europe to help them because of the Ukraine-Russian ordeal, and Russia not supplying gas to many countries in Europe. We were planning, not that that gas field's big enough to supply that much, but at least to help.
Anything can help.
Yeah. Well, this week, the Israeli Foreign Affairs Minister had a meeting with Zelensky in Ukraine. President Zelensky asked for military support, seeing how he has intelligence that Russia is going to make a large attack on the 24th of February. This is the date, right? Yeah. Of course, Israel is sending humanitarian aid, but we cannot afford to give out our military equipment for two reasons. One is we don't have any to spare, being as we are always at a moment away from being in the next war here in the state of Israel. And two is we cannot allow our technology to be leaked to anyone. Yeah. It's just, we would, there's no one in Israel that wouldn't want to help, right? But we're really in a situation, we're not the United States of America. We're not that wealthy. We don't have that many resources. We don't have the ability to mass produce weapons and to keep for ourselves and to make for other people. Yeah. I mean, we're not United States of America, right? We can't do it, but we would love to, but we can't.
Yeah.
But it was a big step. It was another step where it started last week, where this new government of ours in Israel is taking a more forward stance and saying we're with Ukraine.
With you. Support,
Yeah. So that at least is something worth a lot, right?
I agree. Yes. Hamas is now publishing many instructional videos for Israeli Arabs to learn how to make successful terrorist attacks. These videos that social media is not in a hurry to take down for some reason are teaching stabbing and shooting techniques to kill as many Jews as possible before they are stopped by Israeli security officers. These videos go as far as to show them how to walk calmly, to stay under the radar and find where the largest amount of Jews are before they open fire.
Yeah, I saw some of these videos, and it really they put a lot of time, energy, and money into producing these clips. It's insane. You know, it's crazy how Hamas is trying to get more and more people, the Israeli Arabs to attack the Jews here and make more terrorist attacks on our streets. I watched a couple of them. It showed them where the guy was the terrorist walking down the street calmly, showing how to blend in, hide your gun, and look around. And then if you see a place, like go walk. They showed him walk by a restaurant with a lot of people sitting down and eating. He passed the restaurant, thought about it for a second, and then it showed him come in, shoot. Either or had a jam in his gun, or ran out of bullets. Take out a knife and just keep stabbing, just keep going and going and going. And showing him how to stab and how to this and how. It's just kill the people sitting in the restaurants, the families that go out to eat in the evening. You know, these are the people that most of the world wants us to have a two-state solution with, including the United States of America.
Free Palestine.
Yeah.
That's for their freedom. That's how they free Palestine.
Yeah.
Killing Jews.
That's just so sad. Well, in continuation from last week's broadcast, when we talked about the serious split in the nation of Israel over this Supreme Court reform, when Netanyahu wanted to make a speech to help and put an end to this nonsense that is possibly leading to an Israeli civil war, he had to say that even though the left wing is making such outrageous accusations and the Supreme Court is joining in on the attack, he literally had to say nothing. Netanyahu is now under a gag order by the same people that are accusing him. You know, this is part of the problem.
How ridiculous is that? He's the Prime Minister of Israel.
And he can't talk about the biggest issue that's happening inside the country right now. This is by far the most important thing that's happening in Israel right now. It's affecting everything. It's affecting the economy. It's affecting the people. It's affecting everything.
Yeah, well, the hysterical mood of the left wing affecting the...
Yes, it is. They're making the big issue about it that's causing all this problem. Another thing is they talked about how the shekel was dropping this week. And I thought it was quite interesting how no one paid attention. The shekel all of a sudden started dropping this week, and right when they started talking about how problematic it could be for the economy of Israel.
Yeah.
And when it started dropping a little too much, the Bank of Israel, they didn't make any official comments about this. They sit on all kinds of currencies, including a lot of U.S. dollars. And they used over $2 million to buy shekels to balance out the drop, meaning they probably did something before to make the drop, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's all fabricated. It's all they're making this pressure. They're just looking for any way to put the pressure to stop it, right?
Yeah.
And it's not really. I don't understand their problem. Well, I don't know. Most people in Israel, I realize, don't even know what this reform is about.
Yeah.
So, it's basically just a few things. It's Lapid is the guy who's attacking the reform and making the former Prime Minister Lapid.
Yeah.
And basically the reform is just a few minor issues, actually major issues, but not government changing, democracy changing issues.
Not what they say.
The first one is that the judges, the Supreme Court judges, can't appoint their own judges anymore.
Yeah.
It has to come from the Knesset members, from the coalition, which is a good thing. The left-wing protesters won't stop for a second and realize, wait a minute, that's not taking away democracy. That's making democracy even more of a democracy, because now it puts the power into the voters' hands an added power that we never had. That now that we choose the people that choose.
And not only us, they still have 3 Supreme Court, 3 judges, and I think 2 lawyers that's still in the committee to choose the judge, the Supreme Court judges.
Right.
It's not only political people there; they still involved other people, like from the. So
Another thing that this reform is about is to stop the Supreme Court from the ability. Israel does not have a constitution like the United States. We don't have a constitution. In 1948, we had to build this country so fast. There was no constitution and ideas and everything. Actually, if you want to get down to it, if you ask anyone that has any sense in the Knesset, what's the Israeli constitution? And they'll tell you it's the Bible, it's the Old Testament. That's the Constitution of Israel. So it's the longest constitution any country's got, right? But anyway, but we do have the basic laws when they came up, and that's another thing this reform is about: is to stop the Supreme Court from messing, changing, or deleting those basic laws that the country was founded on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that reform is doing, and that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's not against democracy.
On Monday, the left-wing protesters actually physically stood in front of the doors of the houses of the Knesset members from the right wing and threatened them while physically stopping them from leaving their homes to go to vote in the Knesset. Needless to say, the vote was on Monday, the same day, and after the first calling was passed, Netanyahu said that he still calls for the leaders of the left wing to come and talk and work out the issues that they are making in this reform.
That's ridiculous. They literally physically stood in front of the doors. One of them was one of the Knesset ladies, the members. She had an autistic daughter, and she had to take her daughter to at 7:35 in the morning to a special school thing, but that's really important for her daughter. And the protester said, you can't leave. Just put on music and keep her calm at the house.
Yeah, the reason they say put on music is because she's autistic and they made a lot of noise, and she was kind of scared and she felt like anxious. So they say put on music so she won't hear us.
So this was just ridiculous.
And they are protesting. One word is always coming back and back from their mouth: democracy. So how can you stop somebody from going somewhere? Take the basic freedom of moving around from person and say you fighting for democracy,
right?
For freedom, for our right.
That's just ridiculous. But it's like that everywhere in the world right now. Everything's going upside down and crazy. Good is bad, bad is good. On Saturday night, Israel acted out an airstrike in Syria. This was yet another strike against Iranian targets and weapons on their way to Hezbollah. The Syrians fired anti-aircraft missiles to try and take out the Israeli fighter planes. This time, one of their missiles hit a residential area and hit a 4-story building, killing and injuring the residents in that building. This looks bad, seeing how Syria is still trying to get over the tragedy of the recent earthquake that we all still remember so well. It is important to note that our enemies do not stop, and they are trying to use these emotions to get stronger. At the same time, this is not the area affected by the earthquake, and Israel still sent and ready to send more help for the affected people in the areas of the earthquakes. This is they just realized that this was a good time, thinking maybe they won't do anything now and we get away with it.
Let's juice it,
because they might not attack because it looks bad. But Israel can't be worried about what looks bad while their enemies are trying to arm themselves to attack, right?
Yeah. On Monday night, another 2 earthquakes hit the southern part of Turkey. One was 5.0 and the other was 6.4 on the Richter scale. These earthquakes killed and injured people, but not like what happened 2 weeks ago. These earthquakes were felt in Israel like the others.
Yeah, more and more earthquakes. Yeah, it was a 5.8 and 6.4.
Yeah.
It was just Yeah, it's like the tectonic plates are waking up. I think God's trying to
Yeah.
say something here. But then on Wednesday morning, we had another earthquake where the epicenter was in the Mediterranean, 40 miles off the shore between Beirut and Haifa. I mean, this is right up close to us again, but we know we already had one here in Israel, but this is still, it's coming more and more this way. It was 4.5 on the Richter scale. It seems like people need to wake up. You know, God, I'm telling you, God's saying something. God's talking and he's not happy. You know, well, we don't want to start preaching here. That's not what this channel is about. But you can find you preaching in other places. But, well, on a scary note, Iran was now reached 84% of the enrichment of uranium. 84% is crazy. This is the highest they have gotten until now. They are only 6% away from reaching a 90% to be able to make nuclear weapons. Folks, Iran becoming a nuclear threat is right around the corner, and this has to change everything, seeing how Russia is now also giving Iranian ballistic missiles technology as well as access to their most advanced military aircraft. This is a serious deal. Iran is going to be, my opinion, Iran is going to be a nuclear threat now. It's going to happen, and it's not going to be too long from now. And it's something that the world's going to have to realize, oops, we should have listened, you know, and then have to figure out how to deal with it when we, you know, well, don't want to start going down the option roads of how bad that could be.
Yeah.
But it could be really bad.
Yeah. On Wednesday, the IDF went into Nablus to arrest a cell of the terrorist group, the Lion's Den. As the IDF soldiers came near the residence of the cell, a large firefight broke out in which 10 of the terrorists were killed and many were injured. Immediately after, Hamas put out an announcement that they are losing patience and are threatening to start fighting rockets into Israel.
Oh, what a surprise. They look for any excuse.
Yep.
Well, later on, Wednesday night, Gaza fired 6 rockets into Israel. No one was hurt in Israel, thank God for the Iron Dome. Israel answered back early morning on Thursday between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m., taking out the usual targets again, weapon factories and launching posts and other weapons stashes. This seems to have become a weekly ordeal that is getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
You know, I want to talk about something. The Ramadan. I don't know how many of you guys stay up on the Muslim holidays and how Muslims, you know, especially the Muslim terrorists, how they act and do different things. But Ramadan it's a month long. It's where they fast during the day and eat in the evening. It's always where they, their holy holiday, but it seems to be where they do more killing and attacking, because that's what you do, I guess, on godly holy holidays for when you're Muslims.
Yeah.
And it's right around the corner. It starts on the evening of March 22nd is when the Ramadan starts, which is right around the corner, less than a month away. It's really acting up. You got more and more things happening in the country and out of the country. It looks like this Ramadan, we're going to have a rough month. There are going to be a lot of terrorist attacks. It looks like it. I hope not. I'm not claiming it.
And we have our Pesach.
Yeah.
Close to it. It's like
so it's it looks like it's going to be a rough one though. But at least we got some good people at the helm now. So we'll have a fighting chance.
Yeah, and I'm tired of being afraid of their Ramadan is coming. This thing is coming. Oh, they have the Nakba Day, and stop. It's our country.
Yeah.
Israel is our country.
We shouldn't have to worry about that.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely.
And this thing with the rockets that you talked about before, it's like it's their decision when we have a little fight, and then it's their decision when we stop. Okay, they will fire 6 rockets, we answer, they decided to stop, and we're going after them.
Yeah, tick for tack.
And it's crazy. Think about, you have a rocket shooting into your country, America,
yeah.
and then you answer, and then it's okay. So okay, we stop, you stop.
Yeah, what would the U.S. do if Canada
Yeah.
fired rockets into the U.S. territory?
Yes, it's crazy. But it's like status quo here. It's like,
yeah,
okay.
it is. Yeah.
And people scared. They run into their shelters. We saw children talking, like, 6 years old child. He said, I think I was young when it started. Oh yeah, I was just born. So she said, all her life. That's all her life.
Yeah. Well, that's not just 6-year-olds.
Yes,
40-year-olds.
yes,
it's all.
we have
20-year-olds.
all generation.
20-year-olds.
Yes.
It's all their life.
Yeah.
Well, you say the word status quo, it makes me think of the Temple Mount, because that's always now the thing about the issue about the Temple Mount. If the status quo was changed, I told you I'd keep you guys up to date. Status quo has not changed; it's still the same. But as soon as it is, we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Well, you got anything else you want to add?
No, I think I talked too much today.
Well, don't forget to join us on thegoldenreport.com. And until next week,
Shabbat shalom.
God bless.